Welcome back. In the previous video, we quickly downloaded the Pokemon data and imported that in our app component. So let's close this Pokemon data now. Let me tell you what is going to be the format of this Pokemon data. The Pokemon data is nothing but a list or an array of objects with each object having an ID, a species ID, a height, a weight, a base experience, an order, and a boolean named isDefault along with name and the sprites. For those who don't know Pokemon a lot, for those who don't follow Pokemon a lot, sprites are nothing but the photos of the Pokemon. So this basically contains sprite contains itself is an object which contains two kind of images. First one is normal and second one is animated. So as you might have guessed from our Pokemon application, this left hand side list contains the normal images and the right hand side image contains the animated image. So let's get started. Let's see how can we integrate types in our TypeScript application and React application. So first of all, let me tell you how to define the type of your state components, state and props. So if you remember from the first and second project, the concept of props and state, well, if you don't remember, it's a high time that you should go back to the first and second project. The first project and second project, we in depth cleared the concepts of state and props. We made a lot of use of states and props. So if you don't know that now, it's a good time to go back and revisit the concepts. But if you know that, you can continue. So we can define the type of our state or our props like this. So this React.component can take in the two types. So let's keep it any and any. So the first one, the left hand side one here, is the type of your props, and the second one is the type of your state. Since app is the most top level component, we don't need to have props here. If it was not a top level component and if we were taking in props inside our other class based components, we don't have any other class based component here, but if we did have it, we could have defined the type of props here, and the type of state will come here. So let me quickly define an interface. I'll say interface app state. So this is a general convention. First, the name of the component followed by state. Similarly, if I were to design or if I were to define the type or the interface for props, I would have named it like this: app props. Yes. So this is a general convention. You can have any name if you want. It's completely up to you since it's your application. So yes, I'll name it interface app state. So let's see what all things are we going to need in our app state. So first of all, we would probably need to store the search field, the field which the user types in here. So probably we would need to store this particular string here. So first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to define a search field here, and the type of the search field is going to be string. Perfect. Secondly, I would also want to store all the Pokemons present here in my state. Again, if you were calling it through an API, it might not have been necessarily all the Pokemons. It could have been first 10 or first 20 Pokemons, which the list could have been increased as the person scrolled down. So it could have been something like lazy loading. But yes, since we already have all the data, since we downloaded all the data here, we already have the data. So we can probably store all Pokemons. The type of all Pokemons is still a mystery, so I'm still going to say it any. We are yet to define this type of all Pokemons yet. Now secondly, we might also want to store the search Pokemons. So for example, let's say if I type Bulbasaur or Bul, then 3 Pokemons come up. So I would also need to store the currently searched Pokemon in my state. So let's name it search Pokemons, and again this is still any because we haven't defined the type of our Pokemon schema yet. And lastly, I'd say one more thing, the currently selected Pokemon, because we still need to store the details of this Pokemon which is yet currently selected. So let's define it. I'd say selected Pokemon, and again the type is still any. So now I can use this here, but for now, since I just want to show you that first the prop type comes here and second the state type comes here, I'll also define a playground schema. I'll just say interface play anything, let's say play, and I'm going to define, let's say, a name here, and I'm going to say string. So what's going to happen here is, let's keep the state as always, like you already know, we all define the initial state like this here. So currently it accepts the state like this, and the name property, let's say Madhav. Perfect. Now I can add this play in the second props. So I did a very silly mistake, so I have assigned it like this, rather we need to assign it like this. So like we don't need a semicolon here as well. So that's how the state works. So the definition of state, the type of the state is play. Now what if I change it to number? So it will start giving us an error message that this property state in type app is not assignable to the same property, and a very big message. But the gist of that message is basically that it's not assignable to the type play because it expects a property name of number. So now let's say if I have this, let's say 20, now it is assignable. Perfect. So now let's quickly again change it to app state, and let's remove the play. So this was just to tell you that this type of our state is defined through this, and the type of our props is defined through this. Perfect. So now let's have an initial state for our application. So initially our search field is going to be an empty string because we don't have anything to search initially. All Pokemons is just going to be an empty array. Perfect. And search Pokemons, again an empty array because we don't have anything to search currently. Selected Pokemons is going to be undefined. Why? Because we don't have any selected Pokemon as of now. Perfect. So we have defined everything: search field, all Pokemons, search Pokemons, and selected Pokemon. So we have defined the initial state of our application. So let's end this video here since it's going a little bit long. Let's come back in the next video and start defining the type of our Pokemon, and let's replace our any by a proper schema for our Pokemon type. See you in the next video. Bye bye.